Hey everybody, Yankee here. I've made it no secret that I am not a fan of law enforcement. I think the greatest threat to our rights in this country and our freedoms in this country are modern militarized police forces. They are nothing more than jackbooted thugs on the government's dime who will do whatever they're told to do to protect themselves, their fellow police officers, and their pensions. And because of this, because of their role as government enforcers, they are treated differently by the law. They are above it. They do things that would get us put in prison. And I love pointing out when this happens because, like I said, because I think they're the greatest threat to our freedoms. Because so many people in the gun community want to lick their boots and want to pretend like they're all the greatest people. No, they're not the greatest people. In fact, more often than not, they're pretty scummy people. And the ones that are good people, well, are bad by association because of the fact that they are a part of this. And they're bad by action because they don't stand up against it because they know they would lose their jobs and lose their pensions. And I wanted to point out a story today that is a perfect example of that. It seems a police officer in Pennsylvania, I believe his name was Blake Babin, had to look at it there, he just engaged in sex trafficking. And not only did he not get in a lot of trouble for it, he got a smack on the wrist, a little $2,000 fine, and some probation, but he also was then allowed to retire with full benefits. The only punishment he got while he was being charged and tried was that he got suspended with pay. And then after he got his little slap on the wrist, he was able to retire with full benefits after engaging in sex trafficking. What he did is he went down to Colombia, and while he was hanging out in nightclubs in Colombia and apparently having sex with underage prostitutes, he decided he was just going to get one of them full time and bring it back home. So he found this young woman down there, or actually a young girl down there, who was working in the sex trade, and he smuggled her into the country, got her here illegally, and then got her fake IDs and stuff when she got here. And here's the thing. One of the reasons that the prosecutor used for not prosecuting to the full extent of the law is because, well, they couldn't prove she was underage. Because the fake ID she had when she got here said on it that she was just turning 18. The fake ID that he got her when she came said she was just turning 18. Even though they highly suspected she was well under 18. Especially when he first met her, first started having sex with her, and first brought her back to this country. So that just goes to show you they have no desire to prosecute their own. Period. Prosecutors, any types of attorneys, judges, local government officials, they don't want to prosecute their own because they're all in this fraternity that knows, hey, we're here to be the line, the thin blue line between the government and the people. And it's not the way it should be. They're not protecting us from the government. They're protecting the government from the people. And if we ever get out of line, they're the ones that need to crack our heads. So you don't want to prosecute them. You don't want to put them in jail. Then it'd be hard to recruit the kind of people they want. The people that are willing to crack the heads of their fellow citizens in the name of the government for money. So like I said, he went down to Colombia, started having sex with an underage girl, smuggled her illegally into the country to be his full-time prostitute, and he got probation and a $2,000 fine. And then worst of all, he got to retire with full benefits. Now you tell me that would happen to any of us. If you as a citizen went down, engaged in first sex with an underage person, and then trafficking of a minor, illegally trafficking a minor for the practices of sex trafficking, and then got caught, would you just get smacked on the wrist and get allowed, I'm assuming, to keep her? I don't know. I haven't read about that part yet. To keep her there. I mean, I guess he bought and paid for her, so they look at it like, well, we don't want to take his property from him. So tell me that would happen to you, that if you did all that stuff, you'd still be allowed to retire from your job with no ramifications. You'd get you'd full pay. You'd be suspended with pay while you were out being tried. And then, like I said, you'd just get off with a slap on the wrist. No, you'd be in jail for a while. But like I said, the government doesn't want to prosecute their own because that's one of their foot soldiers. They might have to call him up later when things get bad. So I just love pointing things out like this because the bootlickers just love to pretend that police are so awesome when this is an example of what the police are. And this is an example of how the system treats them differently than they treat you. So if you're someone who can see these kinds of things and see how they're treated and see how they're allowed to keep their pensions and everything else just to keep them in line, because like I said, they are the government's own personal jackbooted army. If you can still look at that and still lick the boots of law enforcement, well then I doubt there's much hope for you.